everybody, welcome back to Anxiety Chats. I'm Emily, for those of you that don't know. There's a lot of things that I wish people knew about anxiety. People can be really lovely and really understanding and really kind and caring. People can also think that they know better than you. They can think that you're not trying hard enough to get better. I mean, part of it could be what we think they're thinking, but sometimes people just aren't that kind about mental health and about anxiety. And I think because anxiety is quite a widely used word, like people use the word anxiety to talk about regular day-to-day anxieties that a lot of people go through, and also the same illness that some people go through on a daily basis and feel anxiety constantly. I kind of sometimes wish there was a different word used for the anxiety that real kind of sufferers go through, rather than just anxiety that everyone else experiences. So I'm going to be talking about 5 things today that I wish people that didn't really understand anxiety knew. The first one is that we can't help it. It's not something that most people would choose to do. A lot of the time anxiety is from some kind of trauma, or even saying the word trauma, I think people think that trauma is an overly used word these days, but there's actually 2 different types of trauma. There's big T trauma and small t trauma. Big T trauma is something that is like abuse, or something that is what most people would think when they think of trauma. But there's also little t trauma, which are things that we might not assume or might not think that could cause people anxiety. A lot of things that I talked about with my therapist when I used to go to therapy, I didn't even realise they could be the things that are causing my anxiety. Things that happened years ago when I was a child that I didn't even think were bad things at the time. And it's just, it isn't something that anyone would choose. Dealing with anxiety on a daily basis is horrible, and people that suffer from panic attacks, OCD, all these different types of anxiety disorders would probably choose not to experience them. So try and show more empathy to people that are going through it. The second one is we don't always want advice. I don't want to hear about herbal teas that have cured your anxiety. I don't want to hear about anything that has cured anxiety. And I've said this before, if anyone tells you they can cure your anxiety, run the other way, because I just do not believe that there is a cure. I don't think that we need to be cured. I believe that people with anxiety have trauma, have struggled, do struggle, and that the best thing to do for ourselves is to be as kind as possible to ourselves. And if you're somebody that's watching that wants to better understand a friend or family member or colleague or somebody in your life that has anxiety, the best thing you can do is listen to them. We want people to listen. If you're sitting there and you're like, I don't really understand why that person goes through anxiety, or I don't really get why they're still anxious about this thing that happened to them a million years ago, if you're thinking these thoughts, try listening, try asking questions, I know that some people sometimes struggle with the anxiety that I go through, and they think, why is she still anxious about that? Or, you know, she's been getting better for years, why is she not better yet? Try talking, try asking the questions, whilst being sensitive and being understanding. I'm never offended by somebody asking me a question about anxiety. And also, sometimes advice is lovely. Sometimes somebody saying, have you tried this, in a non-judgmental way is really, really lovely. But I think a lot of the time, advice isn't always necessary, and just listening is enough. The third thing is, it might look weird. Things that I do for my anxiety might not make sense to anybody else. Or the anxiety that I experience, for example, I've got emetophobia, which is a phobia of sick. To some people, that does not make any sense. And a lot of people think, well, nobody likes being sick, or whatever it might be. Yeah, nobody likes being sick, but for me it is terrifying. So anxiety might look really bizarre to you, and you really might not get it, and you might think, what the hell is that person on about? Or they're over exaggerating, or stop, they're being dramatic, or seeking attention, or all of the things that you might think. Anxiety isn't Anxiety isn't always how it looks in the media. A lot of the times we see people breathing into brown paper bags or sweating and shaking and all these things. Anxiety doesn't always look like that. It can look like a completely regular person. For example, I can film videos and put them on the internet about my mental health. That's not usually something that's categorized as anxiety. I can stand up in a room with people in it and teach them about crafts. I can work in a shop and serve the public without any anxiety. Anxiety isn't always social, is what I'm trying to say. The next thing is that there's lots of other things about us than just our mental health. I am somebody that very openly suffers with anxiety, but that doesn't mean that I am not an amazing person, an amazing friend, a really good cook. I'm not actually a really good cook, I don't know why I said that. Somebody that enjoys art, somebody that enjoys reading. There's so many things about somebody with a mental health problem. Whatever mental health problem it is, it could be bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, anything. There's so much more to an individual than their physical or mental health illness. And it can be hard for the sufferer to see that sometimes when your life revolves around trying to be okay. It can be easy to forget all the other things that you have going for you and all the other qualities that you have. But it might be nice if you're somebody that's a friend or family member of somebody that has anxiety to try and remind them of all of the other amazing things about them. And the last one is triggers are a real thing. I think there's some people in the world that feel like the word trigger is what the young generation have overly used. And I know that trigger warnings are much more relevant now, and people are, no, not relevant because they've always been relevant, but they've been used a lot more recently. Trigger warnings are used on a lot of TV shows. I say them sometimes in my videos when I think that it could be something that could be triggering for somebody, and I know that there are a lot of people that think, oh, this generation, they can't, you know, they need triggers for everything. They're all like easily offended and all of these things. Actually, a lot of us are traumatized. A lot of us have trauma, a lot of us struggle, and trigger warnings can save people. If you're somebody that suffers from seeing something like abuse in a TV show or alcohol in a TV show or all of these things, having a trigger warning can be the difference between you relapsing and staying on a clean path that you're on. And what's the difference? If a trigger warning is going to help somebody else massively and it's 20 seconds out of your day so you don't see the TV show you're watching for 20 seconds, what does it matter? If it's going to help other people, that's what's important. You know what? Anxiety and mental health in general is something that, while we're really so much better, I think, in the world about talking about mental health and about trying to help you with mental health, I still think that we're a long way off everybody understanding and being kind about it. I have experienced a lot of different opinions about mental health over the years, and that is okay. I put myself out there and I don't mind hearing other people's opinions about it, but it is frustrating for people with mental health problems to not be understood, and to not be believed and to not be listened to. So I think the best thing you can do is just put less pressure on people that have mental health problems. Ask them more questions, be more kind. I do believe that everybody, whether they choose to believe it or accept it or not, has some form of anxiety or depression or something that they find really difficult. And the best thing we can do is just be nice to each other. We're all struggling, we're all trying our best. And I may have come across a little bit passionate in this video, but I really do believe that people deserve to be treated more fairly. And if you are watching this on behalf of a loved one, then I think you are amazing. I think you are really amazing, because not everybody takes the time to try and learn about their friend or their family member's anxiety. So you are the best if that is you. Thank you very much for watching this video. We have loads of other videos on this channel if you'd like to go and watch them. We have vlogs, we have stories. Go and take a look. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you soon.